You're locked in to the hottest station on the planet.
Resistance is futile. The revolution has begun.
You're listening to Rebelpreneur Radio, helping you break the rules and build the business you need for the life you want. And now, broadcasting his pirate signal
from somewhere beyond the status quo,
here's your host, best-selling author, marketing and media strategist, Ralph Brogden.
Hello and welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio. It's the show that helps you build the business you need so you can live the life you want. I'm Ralph Brogden. You may or may not realize it, but your childhood experiences have a lot to do with your current love and life and business that you're trying to build. It's not so much a question of motivation and of know-how and of skill set as it is those hidden things in your mind and in your past that if you don't deal with them, they become real obstacles in your road and path to success. And a lot of people don't even realize the extent to which those childhood traumas can have an impact on their life today. So not a lot of people talk about this. We tend to focus more on the marketing end of things or the financial end of things and things that are in the present moment. But you bring all of your past into the present, and if you don't deal with it and address those issues, it can really have a negative impact on your present and therefore on your future success. Now, this is way over my head. I brought in an expert who can help us to navigate this, so I am really happy to welcome Riana Milne to the program. She is a certified life, love, trauma, recovery, and mindset coach and advanced certified clinical trauma professional. She is a #1 best-selling author and the host of her own podcast called Lessons in Life and Love. She's also a licensed mental health counselor for over 25 years and living in Palm Beach County, Florida. Riana, welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio.
Hey, Ralph. It's nice to be here. Thank you so much. And hello, everyone. Hope you're all having a great day.
Well, it's going to get even better because I feel like there are some of those things in the background, right, lurking around, and it's like, why do I react to things the way I do? And it makes no sense unless you consider the possibility that there are things lurking in the past that we haven't dealt with, and that's your specialty. Tell
Absolutely.
us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and how you got into this area of expertise.
Okay, well, you gave a nice background. I have been featured in Forbes magazine, New York Weekly, Disrupt, and others, Influencer Daily, on this work. And I went into the deep psychological journals after I had a second love trauma. And I've always been very successful in business, starting businesses with just mindset. You know, never getting a business loan. I see a need for this in this market. I'm going to go and do it. And I was very good in, creating businesses throughout my lifetime. Luckily for me, I did study the masters of psychology since my teen years. Actually, Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra, the Dalai Lama, Tony Robbins, Marianne Williamson, and so on, in spiritual psychology and the Course of Miracles. So I've been doing mindset work for over 40 years. But this second love trauma that I experienced, by then I was a licensed mental health counselor. I'm like, what is it that he has? Because what my partner had was not in the psychological books. So I went to 7 therapist friends, and they're like, have no idea what he's doing, why he's doing it, and it was a mystery. So I said, well, I got to figure it out for me. And if I can figure it out, then I can help my clients more. And I just named it childhood trauma. And I came out with a list in 2012, the top 10 childhood traumas. And there's been a lot more research on this since. And I've been talking about it for many years. And at first I was told, you're crazy, you're making this up, this does not exist. And I said, oh, yes, it does. It's just a matter of time before people understand what it is. So also in 2021, more research came out that 100% of us have childhood trauma. I already knew that it did go through 3 generations. So you have to really just kind of figure out what are the top 10 traumas that's on the childhood trauma checklist do I have, and then how are they impacting me? And the other thing that's important to know is there's 7 life areas that this past unconscious trauma impacts. So I'll name those briefly first. The first is physical health. So sleep disorders, eating disorders, poor immune functioning, and a shorter lifespan. So these are just a few. Emotional difficulties like quick anger, trouble recognizing your emotions, limited coping skills if you are upset, shame and guilt, excess worry, rumination of your mind, like what could I have done differently? If you didn't get that job, you're obsessing over it, or the partner that you lost, and that leads to feelings of helplessness and low self-esteem. The third area is relationship issues, reattracting toxic partners or narcissistic partners, codependencies, cycles of abuse and neglect you find yourself in, some attachment problems like low trust or jealousy, are to name a few. Then there's a mental health category, ongoing anxiety, bouts of depression, low self-esteem. Under the behavioral category, it could be social withdrawal and loneliness, poor impulse control, risk-taking leading to illegal activity, sexually acting out. And then there's another one, brain development. This is more towards the younger child, smaller brain size, less efficiency in processing, impaired stress response. So if a mother was pregnant and going through an abusive relationship, very often the baby is highly agitated and high startle response. And then the last category of the 7 is cognition. So if you're going under stressful time and your childhood trauma was not healed, you could have just problem-solving issues or low focus and concentration. And if you're going through school, poor academic achievement, just struggling to remember your facts. The bottom line, scientifically in the body, if cortisol is up, which is your fight, flight, or freeze response, memory and focus is down. So, of course, you don't have to be a school student to be impacted by this. If you're in the career field, in the job circuit, and you're highly stressed due to finances, then you may not be your best at your job interviews or on the job. So what is my job to do when people come to me and they're like, yes, I recognize myself on the childhood trauma checklist, and it is impacting me in my love relationship, my relationship with my kids or parents, my friends, or I have very little friends. I don't know how to make friends. There could be social anxiety as well. So I look at the whole picture, and that's what I do as a life coach. And then I have the mental health capacity to help them through the mental health and behavioral issues, as well as being a certified coach, helping them move forward in life to create the life they desire and then have the love and career that they deserve.
Yeah. And so
that's
this,
it in a nutshell.
And this also would affect, if it's affecting all of these areas of life, it's certainly going to affect someone in wanting to be an entrepreneur, to start their own business, or to work with clients, or to start new ventures and work with new people. And so you're saying that 100% of people have some sort of trauma in their life that's affecting them right now.
Yes, and I can go through what the top 10 traumas are if you'd like,
Sure.
So people can identify. Okay, so these are childhood experiences. They could have happened in the home, in the community, even from a coach, a community basketball team or a teacher, and it could have happened with your peer group or in school. So we're talking from age birth through to young college years. Okay, this is the childhood age group that we're looking at. So the top 10 traumas are, number 1, any addiction in the family. And we're not just talking drugs and alcohol. We're talking sex, meaning you knew your parent was a cheater, porn use, gambling, hoarding, spending, eating, gaming, TV watching, social media, or computer addiction. These are all, they took prevalence in the house versus time with your child, then the child could feel neglected. Okay, number 2 is verbal messaging. Did you hear the words, I love you? Did you hear compliments? Were you, often, praised by your family? Or instead, did you hear a lot of put downs or you're not good enough messages? Also, how did your parents work through an issue? Did they yell and scream, or were they loving and kind as they worked through issues? Number 3 is emotional abuse or neglect. Number 4 is any physical abuse, rape, or molestation. Number 5 is around abandonment. I named 2 types, fault and no-fault abandonment. So a no-fault abandonment is if a parent happened to die early, if they are deployed and fighting in wars, or they traveled a lot for work. Therefore, they weren't home often, but they were supporting the family in this way. And then a fault abandonment is never seeing your child, or being with the child till the couple breaks up, and then you rarely see the child or break a lot of promises. And then the last one would be you are physically present but emotionally not attached. You don't go to this kid's school's events or the games or that type of thing. Then the next one is, did you need to live in another home other than your parents? So grandma, aunt, family, friend, foster care, were you adopted? Any of these types of things have an impact. Trauma 7 is one that most people relate to most. We call it personal trauma. Were you ever bullied as a kid or felt different? You might have been from a different culture in a primarily Caucasian school, or race, African American, the only, Black student in an all-white Caucasian school. Did you come out LGBTQ and kids were teasing you or your parents didn't accept you? So this personal trauma, a lot of people can relate to. Number 8 is sibling trauma. Did your sibling bully you is one. Was your sibling born with a medical condition that commanded more of mom's and dad's time, making you kind of feel left out? Or most often you perceive that sibling to be the golden child, the favored one of the family, the star athlete, more handsome, more beautiful, or the smartest student. Okay, number 9 has 2. There's actually more than 10 traumas, but for a checklist, I suggest the top 10 childhood traumas. But I brought down number 11 because it had to be. When I did this list in 2011 and 2012, number 11 was community trauma. Now it's one of the biggest ones, especially COVID would fit in there, impacts communities at large. Our Mother Nature events, floods, fires, hurricanes, wipe out communities at large. Our mass shootings, school shootings are community traumas. So you can see how prevalent they had become in the past 10 years. And then also there's family trauma tied to that. So if a parent was incarcerated, or in the U.S., our military families move every 2 to 4 years, making the child the new kid in school all the time. Growing up with lack messages, like we don't have the money for food or to pay the gas bill. When you hear that, it's very hard to succeed in business because you're always worried about investing in your growth. And I'm a coach, and people, if they're not willing to invest in themselves and their growth, they will never grow their business. For example, my business coach that I took on, I paid $85,000 for a year, Lisa Sachovich. And people said, Riana, you could buy 2 cars. I'm like, I don't need 2 cars. I need to take this message globally to help more people. And I don't know how to do it. So I'm investing in a coach to meet my deadlines and get my message out there. And with coaching, it's fully tax deductible. So I got to have the career I love, I'm passionate about, invested in one of the top coaches that I could find. And and you grow a business. So, you have to get out of that lack mindset mentality to grow as an entrepreneur, or to take the leap of faith and say, I'm not happy at this job, I'm going to go and get another one. So it does impact you in business, or freaking out if you're in sales and you're not meeting your quota. So you take that anger and frustration home to your wife and kids, so you have to really have what I call the mindset for success, which I've been teaching over 40 years, to deal with the ups and downs which are typical in life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I do to help heal this, plus a lot of trauma recovery skills, because I'm an advanced CCTP, which is Certified Clinical Trauma Professional. So combining the coaching skills with the mental health skills, we get to the bottom of the issues, identify what's going on the top 10 list. And I didn't do number 10, so let me finish that one, which is mental health issues in mom and dad. And the two most difficult is bipolar and borderline personality disorder. Borderline is fast trigger anger. When they're good, they're great. When they're bad, they're horrid, and they're real erratic moods that kids don't know how to navigate through. Mm-hmm. And bipolar is manic depressive. The anger can show up as fatigue, checking out emotionally, and the manic phase, a lot of people think that's a high and happy stage. Well, it could lead to a shopping spree, and then the next month you get your bills and you're depressed for 3 months because you can't pay your bills, right? So those are the top 10 traumas that I named through my research. And they're pretty easy to identify. Although when I meet with people for like a discovery session, they usually miss 2 of them or 3. And the reason is because they're so normalized as kids. As kids will say, I didn't have trauma. There's a few issues going on, but no big deal.
Right.
And the reason is the child's mind, to be able to cope, just normalizes everything. Mm-hmm. But the truth is that it does impact your mindset. It leads to fear-based negative thinking, ongoing depression, anxiety. Like I said, I named some of these mental health issues and even physical issues. So it's really important that you heal this in your life to be the most successful you can be in life, love, and career.
When you're working with business owners, especially self-employed entrepreneur type people, what would you say is the biggest obstacle that they seem to have to deal with in terms of childhood trauma?
Everybody is their own personal story, of course, but I find trauma 2 and trauma 7 are very influential. Trauma 2 is the verbal messaging where you told, great job, you always try your best, I believe in you, or like, I'm not sending you to college. Why waste my money? Huge messaging difference there, or, yeah, your swimming time was okay, but it's your best, but it's still not as good as so-and-so. So those messages are always, I'm not good enough. So the entrepreneur has to have a lot of strong mindset, positive messaging going on in their life to continue to grow. And the root of an entrepreneur, which I've been one for 40 years, at the age of 26, I had a model and talent agency in school that I was told up in Erie, Pennsylvania, it'll never go. This is a blue-collar town. You're crazy for opening this. And my response was, watch me. And within 6 months, I won this International Model and Talent Association Award for Educational Excellence. Within the year, I won the International Award for the Model and Talent School of the Year.
How about that?
So I made that go just by mindset and creativity because I couldn't get a loan. At that time I was married, and this was a love trauma, number one. My ex stole a lot of money from my mother, $200,000. So here I am, 25 years old, a single mom of 2 girls, and I have to pick them up from school every day at 3:00. So what 9-to-5 job was I going to get? Well, my mindset was strong, and I'm like, I'll create my own job and something I love that I can close the door at 2:30 and open at night when the nights I don't have the kids, So creativity is huge, thinking outside of the box, saying yes to opportunities, being creative. There's going to be up and down cycles in every business if you're an owner. So being able to navigate through those tougher times and still stay positive and focused on what you do need to do and what you can do. That's a big question. What can you do? Don't look at the negative things. Look at the positive things that you are able to do to create new business.
Very good.
Because Yeah, I had to go through a bankruptcy. It was $750,000 at 26. I opened up my school, my modeling school, with my first month's rent. 4 students. Within 6 months, 25 students and a waiting list. So how did I get those clients? So when people also come to me and they want to be coaches in different niches, this is a lot of what I teach. How you get leads? How do you become more creative? How do you think outside of the box or add a new service? What makes you different from everybody else? So there's a lot that you have to know in business. And I always say entrepreneurship is always a learning curve. You're always learning. You're always being creative. It's never like, okay, it's great now and it's always going to stay great. No, you got to roll with the punches. Like AI is new. How many people, I just took on an AI coach in January. I have this amazing chat bot on my website. You can ask it any questions. It answers just like me. I'm on there welcoming people to my website in German and in French, and I don't speak those languages, but I do on my website, So
amazing, isn't it?
Keep learning. It's crazy, but it's fun for me. I enjoy learning. Keep learning, keep growing, keep thinking outside the box. But if you don't have that internal confidence and the mindset for success, you're always going to struggle. So it all goes back to the original childhood traumas. And when we clear that up, it's amazing how successful your life is. That's why I love what I do. It's really cool work.
So when we talk about childhood traumas, that just talking about it can be triggering for people who are listening. If someone listening right now recognizes this as a problem, what is a self-help thing you could teach them right now until they get the help that they need, but something that they could take and apply right now to help them navigate this and get to the next step of getting help if they need it?
Well, the first thing is education. So I always say go to my website, which is my name, RianaMilne.com. And there's 4 free tests at the top. One of them is the childhood trauma checklist. So it will go a lot deeper into the quick explanation I got. But you can do those for free. Analyze your relationships. Analyze, if you're single or a couple. Are you really ready for a relationship or not? My podcast, Lessons in Life and Love with Coach Riana Milne. I have 125 shows out and 350 on my YouTube channel. So education is essential. And then when you're ready to step and set up and say, I want to fix this, I want to heal this, I can see where these are getting in my way, then I offer a very, very reasonable discovery session where you meet with me for 2 hours. It's offered right now at a fraction of the price on my website. So you can do that where we get to the bottom of what's going on for you. Because as I was doing this for myself, I felt I can't change what I don't know or understand. So nobody understood what childhood trauma was. I have a triple master's in psychology. That term wasn't even mentioned once. So, it was a huge learning curve. But once I got it, that's when I said, oh, my God, I got to take this to the world because everybody's suffering with this and nobody knows, why do I keep getting a toxic partner? Or why do I not excel in work when I try my best? It can be very frustrating. So when you get to, okay, I get what's happening, now we can change it. And I have all kinds of coaching programs available that people can enroll in. So that's how we heal it. And it's amazing the transformation that people get. And I work with ages 16. I would take a 15-year-old, but totally by computer, all the way up. My oldest client was 80. So all age groups, males, females, straight, LGBTQ, because childhood trauma has no prejudice, and neither do I. So it's a great training, and when you learn these skills, you will use them forever. And I often hear from my clients, how could I go back and I look at how I was, like I could never go back to that person. They just totally change and love who they become.
Transformation, that's what it's all about. Now, you are also a #1 best-selling author. Tell us about your book.
Okay, well, I have 13 of them out. Two for my curriculum are available on every online site and in bookstores. It's called Love Beyond Your Dreams. Break free of toxic relationships to have the love you deserve. That I wrote in 6 months, and it's 400 pages, about 350 professional sources, and it's everyday language. Just as I speak to you, people say they hear my voice in the book. So it's a very easy and fast read, and it's full of great information. That was a #1 bestseller on Amazon. And the partner book, or the sister book, is called Live Beyond Your Dreams, From Fear and Doubt to Personal Power, Purpose, and Success. And that is all about the mindset for success that I've been teaching many, many years to even my models, singers, actors, and dancers. Like I had an auto mechanic in Erie, PA, and he goes, I really want to be a model. And he was a muscular guy, long blonde hair, big white smile, blue eyes. I'm like, I see him more as like a TV actor, like a Baywatch guy. Do you remember that show, Baywatch?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he goes, oh, my God, that would be my dream. I said, well, let's make your dream happen. So I was called the Dream Maker, and he ended up on Baywatch. And then I had a dancer. She wanted to be a rockette. She ended up being a rockette in New York. A singer, a couple of singers. My own daughter wanted to sing. She's on 3 multi-platinum CDs. So we have so many great testimonials of let's define what your goals and dreams are and let's make it happen. And the only thing between the desire and the result is your mind, right? And the perseverance and the goal setting. So when we get rid of the old stuff that doesn't serve you and do the goal setting system and, get the education that you need, and the 8 Ds for success, a lesson my dad told me. He said, kiddo, if you got the 8 Ds, you can do anything in life. And they're desire, dedication, determination, devotion, which is the spiritual part, like God's got my back. I believe in myself. That's the faith-based. Dream, dare to dream, and dream big, baby, he always said. Discipline and drive. So if you got them, and when I always say, invest in coaching because A, it's a tax deduction, and B, it will keep you on point. There's no room for procrastination. And that's why to grow my career, I've had 14 coaches, with my AI coach being the last one and current one. So, keep growing, keep learning, keep thinking outside of the box. What can you bring to your clients that's new, different, exciting, that you believe in, and just go for it.
Wonderful. So if you're listening to this and you're struggling right now with childhood traumas or anything else, there is hope and there is help. And I encourage you to reach out to RianaMilne.com to get in touch with Riana. And boy, she's got lots of resources, lots of education, a lot of tools in her toolbox that she's collected over many years of working with clients successfully. And so I encourage you to go check that out and get the help that you need. Riana, you've been full of information and practical wisdom and advice. Any final thoughts or words of wisdom that you'd like to leave with our listeners?
Absolutely. I just really want to encourage everyone, don't freak out if you say, oh my God, I have some of these traumas, because childhood trauma absolutely can be healed. Like I said, it usually goes through 3 generations, and everybody has a few of them. So it's important just to heal it, and you can. And in the process, you're going to grow to be your very best self you could possibly be. And, this is no dress rehearsal. And I just had a friend pass away last night, 50 years old, stage 4 cancer. And he's been sick for a while. And it's always a wake-up call, like, do what you love, live a life you love that you're proud of, go for your dreams, and don't be afraid, to try, because life is too short. So indeed, you can create that life you desire and have the love you deserve. Do it today. Don't wait.
Do it today. Words of wisdom from Riana Milne, RianaMilne.com. We'll have that link on the Rebelpreneur website as well, so you can check that out. Riana, thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ralph, for having me on, and thank you, everyone, for listening, and go out and live your best life.
You've been listening to Rebelpreneur Radio with Ralph Brogden. Download the show notes and much more at rebelpreneur.com.